happy and we're singing and we're colored. Give me a high five.
What is going on, you guys? That is the best part of my week hearing that intro. But what's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, here with my guy Big Game James, and we have a special guest today on the Best of Enemies. We got my guy Tone DeShields. What's going on, Tone? Thank you for hopping on, man. We appreciate you.
Most definitely, man. Super grateful to you guys for even reaching out to me, and ultimately at the end of the day, it's all about collaboration and building that network. So again, super grateful to you guys. Love what you guys are building here, and let's get right into it.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun, man. We're gonna have fun. So we had a week of football, right? We had a week of football. The Eagles signed some players. Nobody too big named, but I'll start with you, James. Just anything stand out to you this week? I saw you doing some real good in-depth looks at some of these defensive ends, which I thank you for, because the Eagles need some. But anything standing out to you this week from what you've been looking through? Pocket watching.
Yeah, you be pocket watching, piggybacking, whatever you want to call it. You be all up on it. So yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of talk about the quarterbacks on the move. I think that's the biggest thing with the new free agency. But if we're just talking about the Cowboys, it's just a lot of talk, like it usually is. Dallas is signing their own, like they said they're going to do. And if the whole thing is funny to me is they want to be conservative in free agency, sign their own, don't really jump out there in free agency because they don't want to spend the big money on, take that chance and now you cap in hell, like so-called, but you want to invest in the draft, which is good, young players. But isn't that a big gamble as well? You're banking on, number one, your scouting team to be super on point beyond belief because you don't get free agents. And if your guys are the same guys you brought back last year and you're not improving, you're putting all your hope in the draft. If you're putting all your hope in the draft, you're putting your hope in a bunch of unproven players. Even though they're on the college level, you don't see it on the pro level. Those free agents get paid for a reason because they've been in the league 4, 5, 6 years, and they've proved it. So when they go to another team, there's a high probability they're going to still maintain that. You put a lot of hope in that draft, and it's just it's conservative. But isn't it a gamble when you're gambling on first-year players that you don't have any thinking and thought about? So from my perspective, all week, that's been going on in my head.
Yeah. No, I feel you. And see, usually this is where I start going in and start saying that we're basically the same. I really do feel like the Eagles and the Cowboys, especially our fandom, we're starting to feel the same things about our, leadership, the guys that are making decisions. We're kind of sitting here kind of with our hands, under our backsides, right? We're kind of sitting on our hands. But, we got Tone to do that today. So how are you feeling, Tone, about what the Eagles are doing so far? I think that we probably have differing opinions, which I like. That's why I love talking with you. So what are you thinking so far about these moves?
All right. So this offseason has kind of been uneventful, right? And we kind of, leading up to the offseason as a fan base, even as content creators, we kind of expected, and I'm pretty sure you could probably say the same thing, Big Game James. Like, I'm pretty sure we all expected a little bit more from our respective organizations to make certain moves or make a splash, right? From the Eagles' perspective, we anticipated having a little bit more cap space. It didn't end up being as much as we thought it would be. Okay, that's fine. But ultimately, I'm disappointed with the methodology, the philosophy of how Rosen's going about it. But at the same time, I can sort of understand. So, for example, we've made very modest moves like bringing back Jason Kelce on a 1-year deal, $14 million. Bringing back Fletcher Cox, cutting him to bringing him back. That was a risk cutting him, by the way, but we got him back 1 year, $14 million. Brought back Anthony Harris, Boston Scott on 1-year deal. Signed Hassan Reddick, which is our biggest signing of the offseason, a huge signing. Not to minimize that at all, because I'm glad we brought that guy in. Temple product, shout out to him. And he definitely solidifies things in the linebacker room and from a pass rush perspective. So you kind of got a 2-for-1 when it comes to him. They brought back Derek Barnett, that I wasn't too ecstatic about, but at the same time, when I think about it rationally. It provides depth. He's young, and now the pressure is fully on him. Now you can't ride off that first round status. You can't ride off of that record you broke at Tennessee, the Reggie White record. You can't ride off of that anymore. You made it to your second contract, luckily, by the grace of God, because nobody else wanted you. But Howie Roseman decided to bring him back. I feel like that move was twofold. What I mean by that is he brought him back, one, because it would provide depth, and he was cheap, but also because of the fact that he wanted to save face in that first round pick. He wanted to show that investment wasn't a total botch. But we all know what it was with Derek Barnett. You have 26 career penalties on 21 and a half career sacks. Doesn't make that much sense. Then we bring in the linebacker, Kaiser White, is it? From the Chargers?
Yeah, Kaiser White. Yes, sir.
Kaiser White, yeah. I like that move, actually. So these moves, bringing in Hassan Reddick, bringing in Kaiser White, I got to be honest, this tells me, just based off the moves, I don't think we're going linebacker in that first round. I don't see it happening, because you have TJ Edwards, who you signed to a 2-year extension, who's actually serviceable. Maybe wouldn't be your top linebacker on any other championship winning team, but he's a great complementary piece to a Hassan Reddick, to a Kaiser White, who are all trying to continue to make names for themselves. Hassan Reddick, had two of his past seasons have been great. Was a late bloomer in the NFL. Came in kind of flat, but then he started to catch his footing that last year with the Cardinals. Got that. Earned his contract with the Panthers, and then came in this year with us to get his best. I guess it's the most security he's had in the NFL. And then Kaiser White, someone who's coming off his rookie deal, had a career year this past season, also trying to maximize his opportunity with Philadelphia. So clearly, Howie Roseman loves this. This is what he does, by the way, big game. Howie Roseman loves going after these guys who sort of either have something to prove, coming off of a rookie deal. He loves catching them in that moment of, I don't want to say weakness, but he catches them in these areas in their career where they have everything to prove and everything to lose. So overall, the offseason has been really average, nothing spectacular, nothing mind-blowing, no home run moves at all. But I do like what he's been doing at the linebacker position.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to do a whole video about Kaiser White later on today. But, like a real quick overview, I see a lot of people saying like Eric Wilson type signing. Obviously Eric Wilson came from Vikings, had a bunch of tackles, and I could see why people say that. Don't get me wrong. I will say it's probably like the total polar opposite. Like Eric Wilson couldn't cover a textbook with that piece of paper they used to give you back in the day that you had to make those book covers. He couldn't even cover that. Like he was terrible in coverage, and this guy's like literally the total opposite. He's very good in coverage. So hopefully that means something for us. This is a young guy, so hopefully he can grow with us. I'm not blown away, like you said. I don't think anybody's blown away in the NFC East. I was talking to my guy Jay Tuck yesterday, and I want to ask this question before we get into this draft. But as a whole, the NFC, I don't even want to just kitty corner it to the NFC East. What happened to the NFC? Like, are we just in a state of flux, or what's going on? How did it feels like all the talent just bounced up out of the NFC? How do you see the NFC playing out this year?
Again, you can go first. I mean, it's everyone's leaving the NFC apparently. I mean, clearly, everyone wants the path of most resistance. Going to the AFC. The path of least resistance is clearly the NFC. So I think that's another reason why Howie Roseman's making the moves that he's making. He understands that the NFC isn't as dynamic as it quite used to be. So I feel like he's kind of using it as an advantage when it comes to being patient with his growing process.
I mean, if you ask me, this NFC East thing, I think it goes in waves. You know how it goes. It goes in yearly waves, and I just feel like the talents have got to catch up, because you got to look at Dallas has had a few good draft picks. I mean, a few good drafts the last 2 years. I know you kind of missed on Rager, but your drafts haven't been terrible. Okay, and I just feel like it's a reloading. You know what I mean? I know Carson Wentz is back in the division. I feel like, okay, we know about what Carson Wentz is, but we can't say he can't throw the ball. We can't say he's not a quarterback that can't throw the ball. We can't say he's not a quarterback that can win some games. We just know what he does, and we know what he is. And I think the Giants are in flux. So I think it's just a thing where it's in a flow. But I feel like the coaching's got to get better in the NFC East. If you really want to ask me, the coaching really got to get better. Ron Rivera's got to get better. I don't Joe Judge, whatever the heck his name is over in the Giants, that they got to get better. You saw what happened with McCarthy. We had the season with failure. You guys had fired your coach, and then you got into the playoffs, but kind of didn't like how maybe you ended, and we still have some things internal. So I think the coaching really has got to step up across the board, and that really brings in players. When you got really good coaches, I feel like that brings in players as well, not just the organizations money-wise, but when you have a really good coach, it's going to bring a player. Look at what Dan Quinn has done with Dallas. A lot of players have wanted to come to Dallas, well, at least on the defensive side, and have thought about it now because they say, well, I got Dan Quinn, and he's going to let me play the way I want. So I think that has a big deal with it as well. I think the coaching has to get better overall in the NFC East.
I can agree with that. For sure.
I can agree. Yeah, I can agree with both, and it does go in waves, and we have seen this. Like I want to say over the past, kind of feels like a decade outside of like a year or two here from Eagles and Cowboys. We haven't really been a dominant team in the NFC, so I hope that it gets better this year. I felt like the Cowboys could have took a big step. I think that you guys were a better team than you were the year before. This year you were a better team than the year before, if that makes sense. But I thought it was going to be another step this year. It looks like you guys are kind of maybe at best going to be who you were last year right now. I think you guys are kind of trying to just become that again because it looks like you're losing a lot of key players.
Hey, Big Game, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
So, when it comes to the Cowboys, right? Like Castro just said, you guys arguably had one of your most talented rosters maybe in the past 5 years. And then hitting on Michael Parsons was just a cherry on the top, right? And getting Trevon Diggs, Trevon Diggs breaking out the way he did, that was spectacular. What do you think honestly went wrong as the playoffs got closer, and then once you guys got into the playoffs? What do you think really went wrong? Because it seemed like you guys had all the tools to essentially win the Super Bowl. You had the quarterback, you had the running back, you had the wide receiver weapons, you had the defensive talent, you had the defensive coaching. What do you think really went left, or at what moment specifically do you think things kind of went left and you guys couldn't really bounce back from it?
Well, I mean, I think at number one, it all started with the coaching. The personnel moves that were going on during the season were really starting to affect the season. When Dallas was when we were really rolling, we had the 5-6 game winning streak. Terrence Steele had been inserted in the lineup. Leo Collins had went out. Obviously, he had the injury last year in 2020, and then he had the suspension. Well, Terrence Steele, a lot of people were doubting him. I was one of them, and he stepped up, and he really – the offense, you saw, the offense rushing game really just took off, and everything was rolling. Sometimes when you tinker with things, where they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, it was those little things when you started. When Leo Collins came back in the lineup, I believe he was forced in the lineup. I believe it was salary that forced him in the lineup. That's when the rumblings started. They put him in the lineup because he's making $10 million a year. Just from my perspective, I don't care what they tell me. Dude was making $10 million a year. Terrence Steele wasn't. You're thinking he's your starter, and you're going to put this other guy back on the bench. But he wasn't performing like that, and he had already been in trouble, and we already had seen he wasn't that player like he had been before. So why would you mess with that? But that's front office. Front office is the Joneses. We already know how that goes. So those little things, and then, like I said, Ezekiel Elliott comes out at the end of the year. It's frustration to me. It comes out at the end of the year. He has a torn PCL in week 4 or week 5. Okay, well, if he had the torn PCL on his knee and you had a healthy Tony Pollard, why weren't you circumventing those carries and let Ezekiel rest and let Tony Pollard go ahead and, take over more of that role and then let him get healthy? Once again, who knows if it's front office? I believe it is, because if they control everything, why wouldn't they jump in coaching and say, hey, this dude is making this money, why ain't he playing? You get what I'm saying? So I feel like those things, because the coaching staff we hear are like, yeah, we wanted to play Tony Pollard 2 more, so why wasn't he? So little things like that really started, in my opinion, started knocking chinks in the armor. Then I just feel like coaches just got kind of scared. Mike McCarthy said it himself. He felt like the team was nervous. I feel like them same things come up where same old Cowboys, we start hearing the chatter toward the end of the year. Yeah, y'all do good in the regular season, but wait till these playoffs. You don't think these players start hearing it? And I feel like me and one of my guys did a show right before the playoff game against San Francisco, and we said San Francisco was going to be the hardest game. We felt like if we could get past San Francisco, we felt like we could really get to the Super Bowl. And I'm not that Super Bowl guy that does cartwheels about Dallas going to Super Bowl every year, but we felt like this was going to be the toughest game that we were going to have. If we could get past this one, it would be smooth sailing, because you know how it is, like in basketball, baseball, when a team or you constantly are losing every year, it gets in your head. You think it's going to happen again. And once you get past that initial game, you're like, now we can breathe. Now we can just play football. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's why that was so much tightness in that game. And I feel like the coaches coached tight. The players coached it tight. I mean, we saw in Kellen Moore how he got exposed with the play calling. It was basic. San Francisco knew exactly what we were doing offensively. The defense stayed in it as much as they could. You get what I'm saying? So I can't really lay it all on that defense, because the defense kept the team as much as they could. But I feel like the intensity, I just felt like they came in like, you're the same Cowboys that you always are, and we're going to prove it. And I feel like we got smacked in the mouth, and that attitude goes a long way. And when they ran out on that field, and I told Castro this, when they ran out on that field, dog, and were doing all that yelling, and Jimmy Garoppolo was flexing his arms and stuff, I told myself, we about to lose. I ain't say it on the broadcast. I kept it to myself. I said, I'm going to see how this team does. But I felt we were going to lose. And when I saw the first series, I said, yep, there it is. Can't say it on air, but yep, there it is. I'm going to just go ahead and try to be positive the rest of this game. But come on, y'all. We done watched our teams long enough. When we know our team is about to get handed it to them, no matter what we can say to everybody else, we had that feeling like this is going to be an L, dog. And that's the way it was. And I feel like those are the factors.
Yeah, that continuity, hearing what you said, it sounds like, continuity was one of the biggest problems. Once you had something that was working, they obviously started tinkering. So continuity. And then it's funny, man, because like I can say the same for Philly when it comes to the whole they're trying to validate guys' contracts, put them in because they're making the big bucks, right? But that don't mean nothing to me. It's all about the production. And then on top of that, when you mention the nerves, and I'm pretty sure Casher, you can attest to this, right? At the end of the day, your team is only as good as your weakest link, right? And when your coach is your weakest link, I'll be honest. I felt like Mike McCarthy threw the team under the bus saying they were nervous. I felt like that wasn't a good look on him, because at the end of the day, the team, this is my belief, the team will take on the identity of their leadership. Mm-hmm. And if your leadership is shaky, it's going to trickle down to your players. If your leadership doesn't believe in what you guys are doing, then it's going to trickle down to your players. I mean, Casher, what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, we got a guy out here talking about he's playing basketball with the draft prospects. And I mean, it's weird. We have like probably the most animated, animated. And I think in the whole NFC East, honestly, like Mike McCarthy, his whole rap was that he was in a barn relearning football before he came back to football. It was a quirky.
That was a lot
coming into the NFL. Yeah, but I like these guys being so vocal. We used to have that with Andy Reid. We didn't really have that with Doug Peterson. Everything was kind of kept under the wing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like guys that'll just be like, listen, this is what it is right now, and call your players out. I'm not mad at that. I don't like when coaches do the, no, we'll figure it out. No, we're fine. We'll figure it out. If there's a problem, these are grown men, right? They want to get paid top dollar. They want to be prima donnas when they're doing great. When you're not doing well, you have to get called out. It's as simple as that. We say it with, Jalen Reagor. We say it with now Derek Barnett, I think is kind of the target of Philadelphia. But I'm sure that there's guys in Dallas, land that get targeted by fans, exponentially more than the others. But I feel for them in the sense that it sucks that now you have to hear that. But you kind of signed on to this, right? Like, you're not going to become a singer if you're going to fold every time somebody tells you can't sing, right? Or they don't like your song. Like, you got to learn to take that criticism and run with it. So I do agree with you that probably, kind of got into the players' heads like, damn, our own guy don't really think that we're up to it right now. But at the same point, that says a lot about the players, right? That says more about the players. But let's talking about players.
Here's my thing, though, Joe. Wouldn't you? The players, okay, just like you said, the coach says that he's got to look in the mirror at himself and say, first of all, I got to be better because I lead the team. We got to be better because of me. But them players got to look at themselves like, yeah, we did drop the ball. We played terrible. I mean, we should have beat San Francisco, dog. Like, that's just what it is. Like, there ain't no excuse for it. This was 1 year. And I'll be honest with you. That's why I think Cowboys land is so frustrated right now. There's a lot of people on edge and on nerves. There's a lot of people that's no more believing, not trying to hear the noise any longer. I'm just being very honest because this was a year to me, and I feel like to a lot of Cowboys fans that we felt like offensively you had everything you needed. You had built it to this point. Defensively, we had always been lacking. You finally got a defensive coach, and then he has a ridiculous season. Okay. You have a cornerback who second year gets 11 interceptions, ties the Cowboys record. You have Michael Parsons who comes out of nowhere, not really nowhere, but a lot of people didn't like to pick, and he comes in and turns this whole defense around. Then you've seen Dallas leading in turnovers, interceptions. They weren't getting those type of things in years, 20 years plus differential and turnovers. So you had an offense, you had a defense, and you had the talent. Wasn't just that you were just playing out of your mind because of the coaching. You had the talent on both sides of the ball, and your special teams was playing pretty well as well, except your field goal kicker. But you were really walking into these playoffs feeling like you should be a Super Bowl favorite this year. That everybody feels it because you finally have the team that you put together at this time to do it, and then to fail just like that. I mean, it left a real bad taste in a lot of people's mouth over here in Cowboy land, dog, for real. Yeah. And just people ain't really trying to hear that no more, Joe. Ain't nobody really trying to listen to that no more, dog. Because it'd be different if it was you have been to the playoffs and maybe went to a championship, but we've seen this is 26 years and running. So nobody's really trying to hear that madness no more, dog, because you can't make no excuse for it now.
Yeah, and the Eagles are stuck in their own purgatory right now. We go back and forth. It's fun to go back and forth, but the Eagles and Cowboys are in very, very similar situations. Like, the Washington football team or whoever the heck they are this week, they pop in and out on the radar, right? They come in there, they grab their division title, and then get their doors blown off in the first round. The Giants, they go 9-7 and win a Super Bowl out of nowhere. So they make their blips on the radar, but it's always the Eagles and the Cowboys, I feel like, fighting themselves. They're never fighting other teams in the NFC or fighting how do we beat the Titans? How do we beat, the Kansas City Chiefs? It's always how do we beat the Cowboys and vice versa, right? So it's like even this draft, we look at this draft and which we're going to get into, that you look at this draft and it's going to probably be how do we beat what the Cowboys are now good at, right? You're good on defense now. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles say, oh, we got to go crazy on offense and get us a crazy good quarterback and do this and do that with a wide receiver. Like, because we're trying to beat you guys. We're not trying to beat the NFC, leaders. We don't necessarily plan for that. So, and I even feel like even the Super Bowl year, we didn't plan for that. It just worked out like that. So I don't know. I get nervous when that's
your fault, Joe. That's y'all's fault. Yeah.
It is.
Y'all, that's your fault, Joe. Cause see, we ain't trying to beat y'all in no draft. We ain't thinking about y'all. I ain't trying to be disrespectful now, but we ain't
as much as you think
you
now.
We ain't thinking about you now, Joe.
I think you do though, because look at
we don't, Joe. We don't.
Look at when you guys look at your team this year. Look at this
Stephen Jones. I'm trying to tell you, Stephen Jones and how Will McClay do it, bro. They just try to they stick to a certain way of doing it, no matter what. Like, they not changing it, especially Stephen Jones. So they stick to what they sticking to. So I don't feel like they looking at any other teams. They sticking to what they trying to draft and how to win their way. So that's what I'm saying. I don't feel like they look at other teams like that. Like, oh, well, Washington did this over here. I feel like they're really like, okay, well, we did this. This is what we feel like we need to do to get to the next level. We're not worrying about what they're going to do, because if we do this, we're going to win. I'm telling you, that's the thought process from the Joneses. So I don't think it's disrespect when I say about any other teams. I just feel like that's really their thought process.
That sounds like a Jerry Jones mindset, though. To be so focused on self. Like,
yes,
you know what I mean?
Ego, self.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was going to say ego, but yeah, you're right. Like, that sounds like a Jones type of approach to everything. Ego. How does this make us look? How do we, like, you know what I mean? So that when you think about it from that perspective, that sounds interesting. But from an Eagles perspective, I feel like, and Joe, you said it, we're constantly at odds. Above all else, I feel like we're constantly at odds with ourselves as an organization. And every game, we all watch a lot of football. And when I watch the Eagles, I constantly feel like I'm saying to myself, okay, how are we going to beat ourselves today? Constantly.
Yeah, facts.
And it's too consistent, be it penalties, be it somebody not running the route correctly, or just not being where you're supposed to be at the time you're supposed to be there. It's just too many boneheaded situations that happen in Philadelphia. Now, what I can say, and we're going to definitely get into this, when it comes to the draft and all that. We're clearly trying to get younger, and we're clearly trying to mold this roster to take on the identity of Nick Sirianni. And that's passion, that's emotion, and we're going to see how this stuff pans out. I was fairly impressed with how the team responded to Nick Sirianni, especially when things got down. Especially when I think the record was like 2-6 or 2-5, something like that. We were basically dead in the water, and he decided to make a decision to completely switch it up, and the team responded. That says a lot. That says a lot to me, to be able to still maintain the respect of your veterans and also maintain the pulse of your young guys and keep those guys engaged when everything didn't seem like it was going to work out for us. So we definitely got a lot to build on, got a lot to fix. But at the same time, 9-8 made the playoffs with the team presently as constructed. We overachieved. And I feel like at this point, you have no other option but to improve and get better. But, we'll see. The NFC is wide open for a lot of teams. The Eagles and Cowboys alike. So we're going to see how this thing pans out for sure.
Facts. Yeah. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. We got 30 people in here. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you're on Twitter, go on over to YouTube. Shout out, show love to everybody in the panel. We'll have everybody's links below. But let's get into this draft, man. Let's get into what the kids come here for and everything. With the this is what people want. This is what the people want. But yeah, let's hop right into it. So I already got us taken. We're gonna go fast. We're gonna do this. I'm excited. Now. And this is the one with I think this gives you trade offers. Yeah. So I mean, if you see a trade that pops out, at you, then feel free. Obviously, the Philadelphia Eagles come up at number 15. We already have a trade offer from the Steelers. They want to give us a second next year and a 20th pick this year for our number 15. I'm not a big fan of this. How would you feel about this, Tone?
I'm good off that one. We honestly,
it has to be a first.
Honestly, and to be honest, we need to our first move can't be a trade. We have to pick a player. Right. That's my whole thing. It's really not that much of a thought process behind it. Our first move has to be a player. And
I mean, an edge. I know that we just got Hassan Riddick, but I don't think edge is off these guys' mind. Obviously, we just courted Kenny Pickett, took him out to dinner, and I don't know if they had buffalo wings or something, but they had a good time, so that was cool. But Trayvon Walker's screaming at me right now. Looking at this list, is there anybody you see that you want, Tone?
If I'm being completely honest, knowing Harry Roseman. See, I want to try to approach it from how he would think. But
see, that's how you do it, big dog. That's how you do it, big dog.
Because if I just did it my way, that's completely unlikely. You know
exactly.
What I'm saying?
you. That's what I said. I knew we was cool.
Yeah.
Now we there.
If I had it my way, if I had it my way, I might draft a guy like Devin Lloyd or right. one of these or one of these corners, right? But 9 times out of 10, I see Harry Roseman going D-line, really. So he's either going to go Trayvon Walker. It probably would have been David Ojabo, but he tore his Achilles, and I feel bad for him. But it might either be Trayvon Walker, Jordan Davis is off the board. Oh yeah, he's definitely going to go Trayvon Walker or Jermaine Johnson. So, but I'll probably go Trayvon Walker over Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, I definitely am going to go Trayvon Walker. I wanted to see, Devontae Wyatt is another guy that I would not be surprised if the Eagles pulled the trigger on. We've talked about this on the show before. He's just he's a very, very similar player to Fletcher Cox. He brings that pass rush from the middle of the interior of that defensive line. But yeah, I'm going to go Trayvon Walker. I don't think that you can really. This is an interesting one.
Denver's
taking
first.
That.
Whoa.
First and second.
I'm taking that.
I'm not gonna lie.
We gotta remember they got Russell Wilson. So where's that first and second going to be?
Crazy if y'all don't do that.
Well, okay, that's
first
a good point.
And a second, bruh.
That's a very good point. Where is that first going to be? But at the same time, it's still a first and a second.
in a second.
And you get a pick
And
for
they're
it.
they're in that AFC West, which is loaded. So it can
Facts.
really it can get interesting. And we still got the 19th overall pick, so it's not like we're totally ass out in this regard. So
And if we realistically look at just the top guys on this board, obviously like a Kyer Elam and a Kobe
Got
Dean,
him
Devin
thinking.
Lloyd, all those would be beautiful to grab, but I think we can probably wait.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. If I'm being completely honest, you get that second round pick for this season too. I mean this round too. So I'm not gonna lie. I would all they want is
we
to
gotta
pick
do it,
124. All they want is pick 124. Okay.
Yeah.
I would do that. Listen, I would do that, right? And then if he's still there at pick 19, I would go Andrew Booth, the corner.
Okay. I like Kyer Elam better, but I respect that. I like both of them. I would not be mad at either of them. So we're gonna go ahead and take that. We're gonna take that offer. Everybody wants our picks now. We ain't doing all that, homie. We ain't doing all that.
They're gonna do that on mine too.
Nah.
All right, so now your guy Andrew Booth is here. Your
Right.
guy Devin Lloyd is here. I mean, we said
He
we're going to
is
be
there.
doing this like Howie.
He's not going to draft the linebacker as much as we want him to. Listen, my thing is, he already got two guys in free agency at linebacker. And then knowing Howie Roseman, he's one of those guys that believes in his picks until the bitter end. He still believes in Davion, even though Davion Taylor has gotten hurt in the past couple times. He still believes in that young man. Davion Taylor has a lot of upside from an athletic standpoint. He just has to continue to learn the game. He showed a lot of flashes this past season before he got hurt, especially when we got rid of Eric Wilson and put him in the start lineup next to TJ Edwards and those guys, and took out Alex Singleton. So I don't see him drafting linebacker in this first round. I just don't. Maybe he go linebacker in the second round, but I think he's going to most likely go corner or wide receiver.
Yeah, and it depends on what happens. It does depend on what happens with Stephen Gilmore, because there is rumors that the Eagles are in on Stephen Gilmore, and apparently his wife, put out on social media that we called about him. So if we go and do something like that, maybe that changes that. But I do agree with you. I guess where we differ is like, do you like Andrew Booth or Kyer?
Right.
I guess that's where you.
What are the measurables? Okay, so like for Kyer Elam and Andrew Booth, like what are their measurables? Like because I'll be honest, I feel like most of our corners have a similar body type.
Hit that positive side. I mean, don't hit the positive, but hit the note side. It'll pull up their notes.
Yeah, I know Andrew Booth is like 6 foot 200, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 6 foot 200. Kyer Elam's like 6'2". You know what I'm saying? Like Andrew.
Give me Kyer because I'll be honest, most of our corners are in that 5'11", 6 foot range.
Exactly.
190, 180. We need some size on that on the boundary, because a lot of these wide receivers now that's coming into the league, they're 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 220 plus pounds, run like a deer. We need we need guys that can physically match up with these guys and still keep that same speed. So just because of the measurables and the physical tangibles, I would go Kyer Elam especially if he has more weight on him or more size.
Facts. No, I agree. And just to say it out loud, I mean, you said it. Chris Olave's a definite option here. Devin Lloyd's a definite option here. Jermaine Johnson maybe if we didn't get Trayvon Walker. But yeah, we're gonna go Kyer Elam. I don't think you can look at all this talent that's still here, Howie. Come on.
That's why I love. That's why I love what we're picking in this draft, because when you're picking in that top 10, it leaves a lot of space for you to really make a bad decision. Whereas though if you're picking in that 15 to 30 range in the first round, you really can't miss unless you're just an idiot. Like it's just so much. It's just so much talent. Like it's like the space between talent and that point is really small. So,
never say never, man. So you got 3 trade offers. You have 3 trade offers.
Yeah, I know they're gonna go nuts on mine. Click the next one.
That's not a bad, because you're only going to trade 2 picks. You're only going back 2 picks, and then you.
No.
No.
He said nope. Going back.
All right, go back to that first one.
Yeah, that's comparative.
The first one.
Here's what I'm tripping off of. Drake London from USC is still available.
Right.
Yeah.
Dog.
Yeah, I was getting told a lot of good things about him. Like he's like, I'm not gonna lie, his size is insane. Pause.
Man, so I'm gonna take this trade because it's only 2 trade backs, and I'll get a pick up. So I'll go ahead and do that one.
So Nakobe Dean
No.
and Devin Lloyd go
Devin
back
Lloyd.
to back.
Damn, that's crazy.
Reject
They
that.
went back to back.
That
You
is
gonna reject
crazy.
that? You have another one
Yeah.
as well. Damn.
Oh my
Damn.
God.
Damn. Who they want?
Really?
'Cause it's somebody they want. Like, who do they want? Like,
I almost
who
want to
do
see
they
who they
want?
want.
I don't
now
want
at
to
this
do
point.
that. I don't want to do it because
Yeah,
that would
that's a
take
lot.
2 of our first picks. Nah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Reject that.
All right. So yeah, we're gonna reject that. And you're not feeling
Reject.
this one either. Reject
Yep.
that.
I'm curious about who they wanted, though. I ain't gonna lie. They was ready to give up.
Wow. Now, here's a problem from me. And go to the receivers right quick.
Didn't you guys lose
Oh
on
my
Lyle Collins?
goodness.
Did you guys lose Lyle Collins?
Yeah. See, here's the issue. I know how much they like Traylon Burks. I know how much they like Traylon Burks. They like him a lot. And he's explosive. But that Drake London still there, dog. Like, now I'm having issues. Go to the offensive line because that's a problem because not tackle guard.
Yeah, you still got Zion there too. Damn.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
I got bam, bam.
Y'all could
Oh
use
my
that. Y'all could use that.
goodness.
Y'all could really use that. I'm not gonna lie. Y'all lost Lyle Collins, right? Who else y'all losing on the offensive line?
We
I
lost
was like,
Connor
who
Williams.
Garrett Wilson.
Because I know it's. I told myself everybody asked me on my show yesterday. Said, "Who would you take, Jay, a receiver or offensive lineman?" I was like, if Zion Johnson or Kenya Green wasn't there, I have to go receiver. But both of them are here, so they're gonna check me if I don't do this. You feel me? They're gonna check me on my show. Like, nah, we saw you on the Best of Enemies, and you was lying. You went ahead and took them receivers, and you was lying, dog. You was lying. So
there's still a lot of talent at the
Ooh.
wide receiver spot. There's
goodness.
I'm not gonna lie. I know it's not. I know it's not sexy, but I would have to go online.
Yeah,
You gotta.
I'm gonna go with.
You gotta. Go ahead.
But I'm gonna go with Zion Johnson because he can play. All of them can play multiple positions, but I saw Zion Johnson at the Senior Bowl, and it was just something about him when I watched him. The Jets had him playing center, and he was just. I mean, I don't know. It's just something about him. I think he's a day one starter. So Zion Johnson. Oh, we gonna miss them receivers though.
We've talked about him a lot on. We talked about him before the Senior Bowl. We were both kind of looking at what he was going to do. Eagles here have 2 trade offers. Devontae Wyatt, I thought we might have snuck away with. Of course, he goes right before us. I highly doubt he waits that long. But the Eagles have 2 trade offers. I don't know if I'm really into either of these. I'm not trying to drop back.
No, I'm good. I'm good off those.
This is interesting, but not interesting enough.
I'm good.
So yeah, we'll see what we got here.
All right, so who's available? Let's go to all. Yeah.
Traylon
Oh,
Burks.
he's still there. You got to get him. I'm sorry, you got to get him. You got to get him. The fact that he's right there.
Who are you getting?
You got to get
Traylon
Burks. You got to get him. You got to get him.
Oh
He
my
fits our-
God! See y'all haters.
he
See y'all
fits our offense.
haters, bro. Here y'all go with the pocket watching.
Hold on.
Here y'all go with the
Ain't
pocket
no
watching.
way.
See this? See? Y'all
Oh,
pocket
wait.
watching.
Hold on, wait.
Y'all
Christian
pocket
Harris is
watch.
there?
Christian Harris is there.
Oh,
I think you gotta go Traylon
That's
Burks.
why I don't like
honestly.
doing these
You got-
drafts with y'all.
You got to go Traylon Burks because he fits our offense.
No,
perfectly,
you
like-
don't have to go Traylon Burks. Y'all pocket
Dang,
watch. I
that's
tell you, that's why.
crazy.
There's gonna be a Cowboys guy on here next week, and we're gonna double team you.
Oh
Hey,
man, that is hilarious, yo.
That's crazy.
I didn't think he was
I did
gonna
not
fall
see
that
that.
far. That's crazy. He
Well,
fell.
we got
like,
that
for real.
pick in that trade.
Get somebody
We got that pick in that
else.
trade.
Oh, that trade we just did. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, so that trade really helped out. That's crazy.
That normally
And then
never
we
happens.
got offered another one. I'm good on that one.
Nah.
See,
I'm good
look,
on that.
Roman here, see,
Hey,
he mad at me.
hey, my fault. Hey,
I
my
was
fault.
fighting him, bro. See, I was fighting, man.
Hey,
Man,
we had to.
What's
Shout
good?
out to everybody in
What's
here,
going on,
man.
BG?
Shout out to everybody
man.
in
Oh
here.
my,
My dog's
bro,
going
gonna
crazy.
kill me.
I'm gonna
I
reject
mocked him
these
in my
trades,
last
Tone.
one. Remember, Castro?
Yeah,
I mocked him in my last one. See,
Hey, it's not our fault. So now we're back and look at who's still there.
Yo, I ain't
I
gonna
would
lie,
love-
bro. I would love Christian Harris.
I would love Christian Harris. I wouldn't mind Brandon Smith. Quay Walker's not a bad player at all. Shout out to DeMond Clark. I feel so bad for that kid.
Man.
Channing Tindall is somebody that me and James both love.
No,
Theo Chanel is
me.
somebody that I
No,
like.
me.
I jumped on board, though. I jumped on board.
Out of those top guys,
is somebody I like.
Out of those top guys, though, who would you say is probably better in pass coverage? Because that's kind of our weakness on linebacker right now. We get torched in the middle.
Out of all these guys, I would probably say JoJo Damon is probably the best in pass coverage, in my opinion. But out of like the guys that could probably play 3, downs.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Harris,
Okay.
Maybe Brandon Smith. It's between Brandon Smith and Christian Harris. Brandon Smith is more athletic, in my opinion. So maybe him, but Christian Harris is a good pass coverage.
Now, based off of the guys we picked up in free agency, maybe Christian Harris will fit in perfectly. You know what I mean? Because Hassan Reddick's that pass rush guy that he's multiple. Kazir White, he's like you said, he's pretty good at pass coverage. So, so far this draft is looking pretty good. I definitely will Christian Harris for sure.
Christian Harris. I will say I tend to start leaning towards Travis Jones. I love what Travis Jones brings, and I'm from Connecticut, so obviously that. But I do agree. I think that if you can go ahead and get your probably top 3, 4 linebackers, depending on who you're asking, I guess Christian Harris I think is that guy. So I'll go with that as well. Now the Cowboys got themselves another trade offer. Everybody giving up. Does next year's draft suck? Why everybody giving up so many?
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
So what we got? Ooh. Nah, I ain't got time for that. Let's go.
He's like, I ain't playing with your Eagles no more. I ain't
got time.
You go grab who you can.
So let's go to receiver.
Well, now he's gonna have to reach. Oh, there's some guys here.
What's this one guy? Because, see, I know a lot of people love Sky Moore, but I like Jalen Tolbert. I really, really like him. I mean, he had like 85 catches, 1,400 yards. I know he didn't play in that press conference. Christian Watson is up there.
I heard Christian Watson. I heard he a freak athletically. I heard he a freak.
I'm gonna go Jalen Tolbert because the reason why I'm gonna go Jalen Tolbert is because I seen him play. He's big. I know they like them tall receivers, and I can get another speed guy later as well. You get what I'm saying? And it's not like he's a top 100 guy, regardless. He's a top 100 guy, so that ain't no crazy reach. And we need to get a receiver now. And he comes in about 6'2", almost about 200 pounds. Ran a 4.3 40. You saw the numbers that he did. I feel like as long as those hands continue to get better, I feel like that's a good pick, and we can come back because I got another guy I want to get later on. So we'll go ahead and roll with that one.
I respect that. Now the Eagles back. We do have
some. What we got so far?
Yeah, I'll pull that up right now.
So we got
Trayvon Walker, Kyer, Traylon Burks, and Christian. That's impressive. If we're able to do that,
that's impressive. Yeah, it is. So I'm thinking.
And you got a first-round pick next year and a second-round pick next year.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think we got to go offensive line at some point.
Yeah, all right. There are some trade offers. This is my thinking, right? This is how I'm in my head right now. I'm looking at like the top guys left. There's some guys that I like. Don't get me wrong, but I think that we can wait a couple picks. So I mean, look at obviously we're not taking Washington. Get off my screen. But this one right here, kind of, we get to jump up. We get our last pick jumped up to 164, and we're only moving back 3 spots. I think that we should highly consider that. Again, I think you look at the people that are out here. There's nobody that like Cameron Thomas would be a steal here. Don't get me wrong. Romeo Dubes is a good player, but we got a good guy. Nick Benito is a good player. Alec Lindstrom is a good guy we could look at for the center position. Brian Asamoah would be a steal at this spot. Honestly, Verone McKinley's a good player. But I think we should wait. I don't mind trading back. I'm pretty satisfied so far. We can trade back. All right, yeah, let's do that. And they want to give us a third next year. No, we ain't doing all that though. That's too much. I'm not moving back that far.
Yeah, wow. All right, so who's available? Top guys. All right, so now the question is, do you want to go offense or defense?
I do agree with you that we should look at some offensive linemen, but I don't know if the value's here right now. I like Alec Lindstrom. But he's a center, and I think you can get a starter right now. Like I like a Leon O'Neal, I like a Kirby Joseph.
We
I
do
know,
need a safety. You're right. We do need safety. You're absolutely right.
I even like a Ron McKinley. That might be a bit of a reach at this point, but he's a good player.
See, all right. So I'm gonna lean on you in this regard when it comes to like once we start getting like to this depth of the draft. I'm gonna lean on you a little bit. So who sticks out to you as far as safety? Because we need that because we don't have any depth there. I don't trust Kavon Wallace at all. I don't trust Marcus Epps for multiple games in a row. Anthony Harris, he's serviceable, but he's not spectacular. Ryder McLeod is not coming back. I had the opportunity to talk to him at the Maxwell Awards. Ryder McLeod said he's not coming back. So, so yeah, who do you think who stands up to you right now?
If I'm looking at this, it's between Kirby and Ron McKinley. And the only reason I say here, let me read these because I don't know too much.
Because he's taking it. He once again taking what I'm taking. He once again heard about a mechanic.
I like Nick Cross too, but I feel like that's you put me on Ron McKinley. Nah, it's too. I think these guys are better. I like these guys better. So they're talking about Leon McKinley's more of a line, at the line of scrimmage type safety. It looks like.
No, we need someone. We kind of need somebody that's like.
I think Kirby Joseph. I say we go Kirby Joseph here. I feel comfortable with that. Let me see who we got at cornerback. Let me make sure I'm not because one time I passed up on Jordan Davis and I haven't heard the end of it. So yeah, we're gonna go Kirby Joseph. The Cowboys again have two. Damn, you want a 3rd round pick next year? You want a 4th round pick next year?
Nah, man, we just good nerds. We worry about that next week.
All right, so we got.
All right. Go to my linebackers. Go to my linebackers.
There's some good ones left. There's definitely some good ones left.
Oh, you already know Channing Tindall.
As soon as I saw him, I was like, I was gonna bring him up last pick, but I was like, I know we're not gonna double dip. I ought to even bring him up. Look at that. You got another trade offer.
This actually is not that bad of an offer.
That's really not.
Only go back a few picks and you get.
We'll do that one.
It's not bad.
All right. Everybody wants 2 picks.
Nah. All right, so go to D ends. Ooh, we go up.
It's a lot of decent talent in this draft. It's a lot.
Yeah.
You know how much? Joe, how much I love D'Angelo Malone from Western Kentucky. I really like him. Right? Don't pick him, but go up.
Oh, I thought you was gonna go ahead.
Right there, Nick Bonito.
Yeah,
bruh. I was watching him. I just did a film on him. I had seen, because Asamoah plays at Oklahoma linebacker, and he's from Ohio. He played out here, so actually I know him. I actually watched his career when he was in high school. So I wanted to watch him a little bit, but then I got to see Nick Bonito, and I seen him what he ran in the 40. He ran like a 4.5 40. He like 6'3", 248 pounds. His first step. Get him. He is a pass rushing specialist. He can grow and he can probably play multiple roles. And I ain't saying he's like Micah Parsons, but you know how Micah Parsons wasn't big for a defensive end, but when he got on that defensive end and he pass rushed you, I mean, his hand fighting, his hand moves, his natural ability. That's what Bonito is, dog. Y'all gonna like him, y'all. We got him in the 4th. Y'all gonna like him.
That was a good pick.
Let me ask you this real quick because they like to say like there's like that prototypical size for your edge rusher, like 6'5", 270 pounds, 80 pounds. Like we're starting to see these guys who are smaller and they're starting to like bend that corner. So like I guess what I'm trying to understand is that size aspect on the edge a bit overrated or does that still hold true?
I believe size does make a difference, especially if you are playing a defensive end. Like I said before, when I was talking about with Bonito, he's not ready to be a full-time rusher because he's 248 pounds. Them guys are for real, if you're playing offensive tackle, they 315 and up. And
Yeah.
if you don't have that play strength and they put their hands on you, you're not going anywhere. And plus,
Yeah.
you think about it, the snaps that you play in the game, plus, especially if you're a starter, you're going to wear down. Those dudes are hitting on you every single play. You're going to wear down. You're not going to be effective. That's why teams lose in the fourth quarter, because you do wear down. They don't have the depth to be able to sub you. And then that's when the big long runs get broke, or the big long pass later in the third and fourth quarter, because you wore down. So yes, that size does make a difference. That's why you do want to see them like 6'3", 6'4", 260, 270, even 280 pounds coming off that edge. And if they got the speed to go with it, like the Myles Garrett, you get what I'm saying? If they got, those are the unicorns, you feel me? When you get the Myles Garretts with that size, that set, and you have the speed to go with it, now you have a guy like him where he can match those offensive tackles because he can bang with them, because he has the size to bang with them. When you smaller, you're gonna wear down, bro. And that's why
I feel like that's what's hard to find,
specialist.
right? And I feel like that's what's hard to find. The guys that have the size and that speed, that bend, those are the freaks.
Yep.
Facts.
And those are the ones get paid.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, let's hear Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney had size and speed. I don't know. He's kind of.
He underachieved in my opinion in his career. Underachieved for sure.
They took
the Cowboys are back on the
never
board.
had a double-digit sack year ever. He should have been a perennial double-digit sack guy. Never got double-digit sacks in his career in the season.
They took K. Mays. That frustrated me.
Oh, right before you too.
Right before, and they took that Woods kid, the tight end.
Yeah, JT Woods.
Dallas was looking at him.
Jelani Woods.
Oh yeah, Jelani Woods. They took him too.
Yeah. I took him in a couple of my drives. I can watch a little bit.
Okay, so I got my DN, I got my linebacker, I got my receiver, I got my offensive lineman. Now we got like who? So we got offensive guard, we got a receiver, we got a linebacker, we got an edge guy. I'm gonna go right here.
Not a bad draft for y'all so far. Not bad. I feel like y'all just.
Let's see what tight end. Let's just see what a tight end is available.
Oh yeah, because y'all lost. Who is it? Schultz, or is it which one of those guys y'all lost?
I think the other one. They franchise tagged Schultz, right? I believe.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere. And they re-signed Jeremy Sprinkle, but he's more of a blocking. I like Sean McKeon, but they need somebody with speed. It's either for real. I'm gonna go offensive line again. Go with the tackles. See what tackles are out there. Oh, you know what? My bad, Castro. Go to defensive tackle.
Gotcha. Ooh.
You know I'm getting Otito.
Yeah, I was just about to. That's why I said, ooh. I was like, yeah, I know that's his guy.
Oh, Otito.
That's a good player. That's a good player. That's a guy with some size and speed on him, especially for that position.
And he got some strength. 29 benches.
Yeah, definitely. So the Eagles, I mean, look, we definitely filled some holes. I think we got at least like I'd say 4 starters right there. You got an edge guy, you got a cornerback that can start at the very, very worst at your slot position. I don't see why he wouldn't be on the outside year one. Traylon Burks could be a starting wide receiver for you. Christian Harris could be a starting linebacker. Kirby Joseph, I think, is probably the only kind of borderline guy. But the Eagles now we
don't have that much competition at safety. I feel like he can beat out those guys honestly if he work hard enough. Like it's not impossible. Too, yeah.
That's why I said he's like maybe borderline because honestly we don't have. I mean, shout out to everybody we do have. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no disrespect, but
emergence of Jacoby Stevens and guys like that were kind of muddled on our depth chart. But we'll see. I guess we'll see. Here is where you just kind of take who you think is the best player. The Eagles have needs at running back. The Eagles have needs at tight end. Tyquan Thornton would be a very interesting pick right now just because we don't have a guy that's going to be returning punts for us, a guy that's going to be returning kicks for us. And Tyquan Thornton, if there's one thing he has speed, and he's at the very least a day one contributor to that special teams. But I don't know. I don't know if this is where you want to go. I mean, D'Angelo Malone is a great edge guy out of Western Kentucky for the value would get. Marquise Bell is a guy that hits hard. JoJo Doman is somebody that
because which round is this? This is round what, 5 or
I believe
6?
so. 6, I think. Because one. 2. Yeah, I think like 5 or something.
Yeah, we still in the fifth because we got 4.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the interesting thing about drafting O lineman with us is, I'll be honest, it don't matter where we pick them. I trust Jeff Stoutland to coach them up to the point where they're spectacular, right? So,
Yeah.
if I'm being honest, because our running backs are Miles Sanders, Kenny Gainwell, and Boston Scott. But I feel like you can wait to get a running back, honestly.
Yeah, I don't even think running back has to be a draft issue. I think you
Yeah.
can get undrafted guys that give you good,
good
production.
snaps. So honestly,
Dylan
I
Parham
would love to go. I would love to add to the trenches. I would love to go O line if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely do that. Yeah, I'm trying to think who I would. See, I like Dylan Parham. I don't know if it's a little bit early for him, but I do like Dylan Parham. Justin Schaefer is an interesting guy from Georgia. That's really about it, though, to me, honestly. I don't really think that there's much value there right now.
So you want to go?
Spencer Buford. Maybe a tight end might be.
I was actually going to ask you, like, do you want to go tight end?
I like a Cole Turner. I like Derek Dees Jr. I know that Cowboys like him as well. I've seen him on a couple of drafts, but I mean, tight end might be.
Of course you have.
It might be a sneaky spot. Honestly, Tyquan Thornton is really just screaming at me right now. I think that would be.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, I know it's not like the pick that people. Yeah, because I just don't. I think that's the best value you're gonna get right now.
Let's do it.
Is Jerrion Ely still here, the running back, or Jerrion Ely? He could be somebody that the Eagles look at, but again, I don't think that it's something we need. Yeah, I think we're gonna go Tyquan Thornton. I think it's a name not many people are talking about, but he would add, like I said, right off the bat, he'd add that special teams prowess, and they just want to give you all their picks. Cowboys got another trade offer.
Damn.
How many picks do we got left? Can you see?
Let's see.
Yeah, you should be able to see if you click on.
Just go to like all my picks so far.
Yeah, if you click on all the picks so far, you should be able to see how many they got left. Yeah, let's click on the team logo.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. 1, 2, 3,
got 4. Okay.
We got 3.
When's my go back to my picks? Nah, I'm good. I'm keeping where I'm at.
Wait, Catcher, you said we got 3 picks left?
We got 3 picks left.
Yeah, we got to pick at least 2 O linemen. We got to.
All right. So here is where I'm going to get D'Angelo Malone.
That's a good pickup.
And I'm hoping the 2 players are going to still be ready when you come back.
The Eagles come back on the board. So you're saying you want to see some offensive linemen here, right?
We got to, because we know at the end of the day, as talented as we are with Lane Johnson, Kelsey, and Mailata, you got Driscoll and Herbig right there. Still got LaRaven Clark. I feel like we still need to add some depth there. Bring in another young guy for, Stoutland to coach up and potentially, probably take over maybe that right tackle spot, like if Lane Johnson retires. And my whole thing is, like, I like Jack Driscoll, I like Herbig, but Driscoll gets hurt. Herbig, I don't trust him at the center position at all. He's a great swing guard. LaRaven Clark is like that swing tackle, I believe. But I just feel like we need to get younger there. We need to add some more young guys.
I definitely agree.
To that line.
So my question, I guess the question becomes is, like, do you want to address a position you're going to need next year and hope that this guy develops into something, or are we just looking for best talent, right? Are we looking for somebody we can just groom?
I would probably say best talent because at the end of the day, like you said, that you can groom these guys. And the best thing about being an offensive lineman, or the best trait as an offensive lineman you should have, is that you should be able to be multiple. You should be able to swing guard or swing tackle, or maybe if you have to, come and play center. Herbig, I don't trust him at center too. Every time he had the opportunity, it was a snap going over somebody's head. So we definitely need to bring somebody in that can either be cross trained. So then Lane Johnson's only getting older. You know what I mean? Like that left side is pretty much shored up with Dickerson and Melada. That's pretty shored up. We need to solidify that right side. Uh, so
Yes,
you
I
know we
don't
need.
like any of these tackles. I would go Dylan Parham. That's probably the only guy that I feel comfortable enough saying that I know enough about him that
Right.
I would take him if we're going offensive line. I would say either him, maybe Luke Fortner, maybe a Chris.
That's cool though. That's cool though because bringing him into that guard position will put some more pressure on Herbig, put some more pressure on what's the other guys we got back there? Is it Brett Toth or whatever? Is that who it is, or is it Opeta, or is it Opeta? Some of those guys like they can put more pressure on those guys. So and again, the left side, Melada and Dickerson got that left tackle and left guard spot shored up. You know what I mean? And just Jason Kelsey hasn't really shown any signs of slowing down, so he's going to be on a year-to-year basis pretty much. That right side needs to be solidified as far as Lane Johnson only getting older. Herbig potentially maybe could take over as a starter at right guard. Maybe just go take over right tackle if he can stay healthy. But we just got to make sure we got enough guys that we enough bodies that we can throw out there to say okay, like we can we're not totally ass out.
Facts. Nah, and this pick I'm gonna have to throw my neck out there real quick. I am going to take JoJo Damon. Shout out to JoJo Damon. Yeah, we got to take JoJo Damon. I just think that he's probably the best coverage linebacker in this draft. He's got a lot to work on outside of that. But I think he's a great player, and we're about to have him on the show, so I'm definitely taking JoJo Damon. I'm going to keep that, just going to keep that moving. But we got another pick. I think we got one more after this. Right, this might be our last. This is it. This is our last pick.
All right. So who do we have? So what do we draft so far? Let's take a look one more time at our.
So far, we got Trayvon Walker, Kyer Elam, Traylon Burks, Christian Harris, Kirby Joseph, Tyquan Thornton, Dylan Parham, and JoJo Damon.
So we basically drafted 2 linebackers, 2 wide receivers, a safety, a corner, and an edge rusher.
The edge guy.
I'll be honest with you. I'm tempted. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I'm super tempted to draft a quarterback in this last pick.
I wonder if there's even anybody
like serviceable, right?
Yeah, I don't even. Jack Cone. Yeah, not nobody. De'Aaron King would be interesting. De'Aaron King is fast as heck. That would be hilarious. I don't think anybody's really. I wouldn't be surprised. Like maybe a Skylar Ty. I wouldn't be surprised, but nah.
Yeah, I don't see anybody that sticks out to me, honestly.
Yeah, and I don't want that smoke in the Twitter world right now. I ain't trying to.
Right, that's true. That's true. All right, so I mean, let's go. Let's go. Shoot. Let's
see what there is at running back. Maybe a Jerrion Early or Ely. I can't say his name. I like Brian Cook. I'm not gonna lie. He's an interesting guy. I'm kind of surprised he's that.
I was actually going to say either go O-line again or go safety.
Alex Brooks is a good player, but we got a lot of linebackers.
Right, we're good.
Josh Joby's a guy too. If Josh Joby had a better season, he would be so much higher rated. I do like Josh Joby. I think he has like the physical tools at least. He just didn't play that well.
Right.
Which I guess is important. Don't get me wrong.
Could be coaching. You never know.
Yeah, I think we should go safety. I think Brian Cook has a lot of upside, to be honest with you. So yeah, let's do that. Let's do it, man. Add to the position of need. All right, now the Cowboys right behind us. So hopefully that was somebody you guys wanted, but
go ahead with a receiver. Go ahead and pick Danny Gray.
Oh, that was easy. Yeah. You got one
and
more.
And then let's go to offensive line. Yeah, right there.
Wow, that's only the 5th round.
Go ahead and give me. See, here's the thing. I don't know if I want Thayer Mumford because he played tackle too. But he moved inside for Nicholas Petit Frere. But he has that pedigree. Chris Paul. It's between him and Paul.
Yeah, I like Chris Paul too. I don't know much about Mumford. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm gonna go Mumford.
I wanted you to take Chris Paul so I could be like, see, he be pocket watching too.
Nope. We think on our own over here.
You got another one. I think this is the last one. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Let me check corner.
Gotcha. The Kobe Durant has been getting a lot of.
Go to you said Josh Joby. What's his measurement?
I believe he's 6 feet. Yeah, 5'11". They got him at 182. See, it says. See, that's what I'm saying.
See, that's weird. That's weird. 6'1" is strange. So did he put on weight? Is that what he's trying to say? Like
possibly. That's what I'm saying. Like he has all the tools, like physically. Right. It's just he didn't have a good year, and he can get.
I'm gonna go with that pick.
I'm gonna go with that pick. He might coach him up.
Yeah, because here's the thing. We ain't getting hurt by this pick. This is our last pick in the draft, so this ain't hurting us if he ain't make the squad.
Yeah, no, I like Josh Joby. I do. It's just I can't really justify to my Eagles fan because the Eagles have a lot of cornerbacks. That's the one thing.
Tay Gowan, Kerry Vincent Jr., Mac McCain.
I like that they do this now.
Craig James. Like we got a lot of young guys that's just
I feel good about my drive.
So you want to start off, James? You want to start off with your draft? Kind of go through it.
Okay. Well, first of all, I am satisfied. I know my dog Rome. He a little frustrated we didn't get Traylon Burks on that first pick. I get it. I was frustrated too. But trust me, when we go through this draft, and I know y'all was pocket watching on that one, especially you, not you, Joe, but you.
Great minds think alike. Great minds think alike. What can I say?
I'll stay with you on that one. But I ain't gonna feel bad about this draft because number one, I was saying that if we had an offensive lineman that was available at 24, either Zion Johnson or Kenyon Green, and even if we had a receiver available, we have to take that because Connor Williams is gone. There's a glaring need. Leo Collins is gone, but not just that, because there was a possibility that he could have switched to guard because that's the position he played, and that's actually his best year in the NFL statistically was at left guard. So either way, you still had a glaring need there. Connor McGovern, he played at left guard. He's still more of a right guard naturally, and he struggled a little bit at that left position. You need somebody to come in there and start right now. I feel like Zion Johnson is that guy. He's a three-year starter at Boston College. He transferred. He played multiple positions, and they really tried him at center. Joe Feldman just met with him, and he had him at center. I honestly said that he would end up being center, would be his position. A lot of people are like, he's going to be a guard. Okay, we'll see, because he played center really good at that Senior Bowl, and the Jets had him there exclusively. And then Philbin had him at center trying him out. So that's cool. He can come in and start at guard right now. But if they're talking about Tyler Biadasz may lose his way, maybe you can slide him over and move him at a center, and then you draft another guard next year. You get what I'm saying? You could knock out with two or one stone. So we'll see how that happens, but I feel good about that. Came back with Jalen Tolbert. I know Christian Watson was available, and I believe the kid Sky Moore from Western Michigan, who's a really good player as well. But I believe Jalen Tolbert is trending up. He played a lot of good teams, and he played the SEC. He played Tennessee, and he gave top competition the business. And as I said, he had over 80 catches, 1,400 yards, I believe, like 8 or 9 touchdowns. He's almost 6'2", ran a 4.4. A lot of people were looking at how he was going to run in that 40. I saw him at the Senior Bowl. He was catching everything. He has some good size. And with CeeDee Lamb, and you've seen Amari Cooper gone, CeeDee Lamb probably stepping in that number one role. Michael Gallup still on the mend. I believe he could come in and compete right now because I drafted a receiver in a later round that I believe can be your third receiver. We picked up James Washington in free agency. I know he's nothing to jump up about, but he does offer speed. He was a former second-round draft pick, so we'll see about that. We still have our fourth-round draft pick from last year, Simi Fehoko, who's a 6'4", 4'3" guy as well. So he's got to be able to play next year. Then we come with one of my favorite guys in the draft, Channing Tindall. I've been telling you about him, Joe, how much I've been liking him. When everybody was talking about Nakobe Dean, I watched that Georgia tape. He's the first one that stood out to me. I kept on saying, who's this 41? I was like, who is this dude, though? Like, every time I seen Dean, I seen this dude. And I was like, and he's bigger. He's doing the same things like Dean is doing, but he's bigger. So once I found out who he is and found out he was only a 1-year starter, so he's basically getting this underneath him. He's just learning the game. He comes in like a freight train, man. He comes in like a heat-seeking missile. The only problem is maybe his coverage is not there what it should be right now, but neither was Michael Parsons, and he got better as the year went on. And I believe if you have him with Jabril Cox coming back and a Michael Parsons, you're feeling really good about that. Then I'm feeling good about Nick Bonito, edge guy. Like I said, man, he's a natural edge guy, a natural bendy guy. He's a pass rush specialist for you. You lost Randy Gregory. He was a pass rush specialist. So now you can replace him. He plays on either side of the ball. Man, his first step is wicked. He's one of those natural guys that knows how to set up offensive linemen, and I think he just gets better. He had 8 sacks this year, and I think he can play multiple positions. And then after you go with Nick, then we come back with Otito, who I told you about, Joe. 6'3", 330 pounds. He played with Ogadazua last year with UCLA, so there's the familiarity. He pushed 29 in the bench press, so you see he's strong enough to hold that point of attack. And he's agile enough. He's got good athletic ability. We got Bohanna from last year. That's a good another one tech that you can put in the building because you need to stop that middle. Dallas was better in the pass rush and overall turnovers, but still running game, they still gave up over 110 or 115 yards a game. So that still needs to be stopped, and they wore down toward the end of the season. Then we come back with D'Angelo Malone, dog. I'm feeling good about that because he's an edgy guy. He's 6'3", he's 240 pounds, but dog, he plays strong. He benched like 25 in the bench press. He plays strong. He's wiry, but man, he was killing them guys at the Senior Bowl. Man, his pass rush, he's relentless, dog. His motor stays on a million, and that's what you want. And so when I look at those defensive guys that we picked up with Dan Quinn, with the guys that already bought back with the Cowboys, that's what I can feel excited about because that's really adding to that defensive room, and I'm feeling really good about that defense. And then Danny Gray, I really like Gray. I just did a video on him, SMU, 4-3 guy, solid 4-3 guy, and yards after catch, and he adds in the return game, which Dallas does not have, and he can come as a third receiver. You got James Washington, but you lost Cedric Wilson to Miami. He can come and compete right now. And you got two guys who's a 4-4 guy and a 4-3 guy, and two things that Dallas has needed was speed. And both of these guys add to that. And now you can finally have somebody could take the top off the defense, which Dallas has. And then Thayer Mumford, he played tackle, he played guard. He's a guy that's for depth. You got Josh Ball from last year from Marshall. He's 6'8", 310. Yeah, Matt Farranog, he was your center guard. So you have guys that you have in flux. So and he played at the Ohio State University. So I got to give him props because they put out good players. So I'm kind of drafting on that, if anything else. And my last pick, I kind of just went on what you said on that, Joe, because he has the size, he has the potential and the playmaking ability. So it's not costing Dallas if he doesn't make the roster. So we feel good about that. And if he makes anything of it, you feel great about the value you just got. And we got some picks for next year. So I feel all in all, you maybe be hurt about the Traylon Burks because you got him, and I think he is going to be a good player, but he is boom or bust. I think he is going to be a good player, but we still got Jalen Tolbert, and I love the defensive players that we picked up in a starter right now at the offensive guard.
Yeah, that's a good
I like
draft.
it.
That's a real good draft. That's a real good draft.
I like
That's
it.
a real good draft.
I like that they separate our picks now because remember it used to be like all together, so that makes it so much easier. But yeah, so the Eagles, I'll let you do this, Tony, if you want to run through them real quick.
I mean, I probably can give you a real solid analysis of those top 4 guys once we get past Chris
All right, yeah,
Harris.
and then I'll take over from there.
Yeah, for sure. So, we're scroll up a little bit. Yeah, Trevon Walker, like that dude comes off the edge like a freight train. Like I love his athleticism, and you know he's a national champion. So I really do like what Trevon Walker brings to the table. Kyrie Elam has that size that I feel like we need at the cornerback position. We haven't had size since Rasul Douglas, and I feel like we didn't really give Rasul Douglas the fair shake. Didn't really have a good opportunity with Philadelphia, and wasn't used properly. He got the Green Bay, then he started playing out his mind, earned that second contract. So Kyrie Elam, if he can be that guy that can match up with those big body wide receivers, you know, still keep up with them from a speed perspective and be physical with those guys, he'll definitely help out and take some pressure off Darius Slay. Traylon Burks, sorry, big game James, but I had to go get that boy. That boy, man, he kind of reminds me of a Deebo Samuel type, a guy that can just do so many different things. That's just an offensive weapon. Great size. I think he's like 6'2", 220 pounds, something like that. So I love everything he brings to the table. Great hands. Christian Harris. I loved him for Alabama. Like, he's a really athletic guy. Not the strongest in pass coverage, but I feel like you can coach him up with that. And we also have other guys around him that could probably, cover that weakness of his. But Christian Harris, really, really great linebacker, athletic, brings a lot to the table. He's going to challenge guys like Sean Bradley, Davion Taylor, TJ Edwards, and you never know. He may be a day one starter if he outplays those guys. We will see. But so far, I like what we got. Casher, you want to take over?
Yeah, I like Christian Harris too, just because if he's getting drafted in the second round, you look back at the beginning of this draft process, and a lot of people had him as one of those top 3 guys at the linebacking position. So I feel like he's going to come into the league with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. Excuse me. But yeah, once you jump into the next couple picks, you got Kirby Joseph, obviously a very good safety. I think that this guy can give us kind of what Malcolm Jenkins gave us, kind of a guy that can kind of be all over the field. And I think he'll fight for a starting position right away. Again, I don't think that we're that strong at the spot. So Tyquan Thornton, I think this is a name that obviously everybody should know by now, right? He had the fastest 40-yard dash, I think, out of any position. So speed, and a guy that can contribute right away to the special teams, which is something that I think we lack. I think that we had a good run, right, from like in the Chip Kelly days, it kind of was, and a little bleed over into Doug Peterson. But we had a really good run when it came to our special teams being one of the best in the league. We haven't been there in a while. We've actually been on the opposite side of it. So I think Tyquan Thornton at least gives you something in the return game. Dylan Parham is somebody that, honestly, you kind of talked me into, and now that I look at it, I think that is very smart, being able to get somebody with one of your, later round picks that you can go ahead and try and, develop. I think the kid's like 6'2", 315, something like that. So decent size, decent, measurables, decent athleticism. Somebody that I think Stoutland is going to be able to get the most out of, and that's all you can really ask for. JoJo Damon, outside of me and him, talking, and I'm probably going to be having on the show this week, I really do feel like what he can do is very special. I think that we've talked about this a lot on this show. The overall theme of this draft is versatility, and I think that he's somebody that kind of embodies that, motto or mode. He can do a lot of different things as a linebacker. So I think that that's somebody that we should definitely have an eye on. Brian Cook, another guy that I think that a lot of upside, can possibly come in and start, right away, or maybe just be that guy that is your third safety. We look back, I can't remember the guy. Well, who was the third safety for our 2017 year? I forget what Holmes' name was, but he was good. I forget what his name was. But either way, he was good, and that's something we can fill in. And then you look at the first round pick and the second round pick. I think that's huge to note because, you look at that number 16 pick. We could have took Traylon Burks at number 16 and probably been okay with it. I think that that's not, and this works two ways because he wanted Jelani Woods, right? The Cowboys wanted Jelani Woods. They go ahead and pick up Jelani Woods at 124. We take Traylon Brooks. We get a first. We get a second. I mean, everybody wins there. I'm not mad about that at all. So I like what we did here. I think
that safety you might be thinking about too might be either Corey Graham or Jalen Watkins. One of those guys.
Corey Graham. That's what I was talking about. Corey Graham. He was our third guy. He put in some. I think he had like 30% of snaps. That's something that we need. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be big. So I like it. I'm giving us like a B+, honestly, maybe an A-.
I ain't giving y'all no A- now, but I'm gonna give y'all a solid. I'm gonna give y'all B, maybe trending B+. And the main reason, go back to your picks right quick. Trayvon Walker, we saw what he did. He's just looking nasty. But you never know, dog. He could be boom or bust, for real. He could be boom or bust. You got to keep your eye on that with him, because sometimes with all those measurables and just so nasty, sometimes they just don't play to it. So just keep your eye on. I'm not saying he wouldn't, but those are the ultimate boom or bust. They're either going to be super nasty or they're going to be like underachiever.
You know what's so funny? It's always hard for me to grade draft sometimes, especially given like a A or whatever, because just have the simple fact that at the end of the day, we're all banking off of potential, right? What we hope for these guys to do. So you really can't grade a draft until maybe maybe to
3
the end of the
years.
season or 3 years, really.
It's
Like,
really it's really a 3-year process because
right.
you gotta look at, especially like defensive linemen. If you're drafting a defensive tackle, and some of these guys are coming out young, so they're 20 years old, they're not ready to play against these grown men. They need to develop,
Right.
especially the linemen, especially like D tackles. If you're a defensive tackle, you come in, you're 21, 22 years old, and you're going against 30-year-old offensive linemen who know the craft, who know the game,
got
who
that
know
grown man strength.
right. So you're going to need time to develop. We know cornerbacks, it's hard for them to, when they come right in, to hit the ground running because they have to deal with those receivers, and it's a lot of stress on them. Quarterbacks, I mean, they say running backs, they kind of maybe have the little bit the easiest type of thing, but receivers, it's a hard. You got to know the route tree. You can be limited, so it's a lot of things you got to learn. So, like you said, it's not instant on the draft. They say 3 years is when you can really look back at your draft and say, okay, how is this draft looking? Because by year 3, you should really know what that player is.
Yeah, and then offensive line, they say some of these guys like, D-line, those guys, in my opinion, they mature into their position a little faster than offensive line because offensive line requires a bit more technique, in my opinion, like a lot more continuity and cohesion, right? If you ask me, I feel like offensive linemen don't really start to hit their prime really or their stride until their age 27, 28. That's when they're really in that sweet spot of maturity physically and mentally.
Yeah, it takes a lot of communication to play the position as well. I think a lot of people don't realize that the amount of communication that happens between your center and your guards and your tackles, between the quarterback even more. It's crazy. They have to talk a lot.
A lot of people think. Real quick, my bad, Cash. A lot of the time, Pete, the average fan don't realize all that yelling you hear. That's them pointing shit out, like saying, "Yo, hey, I need you over here. Hey, I need you to do this. I need you to do that." So like it's such a football. I love football because it's like the ultimate team sport, right? And everyone has to be on the same page, especially in the trenches. And that's why everything begins and ends with the trenches. If your trenches is out of sorts, you might as well call it quits. I don't care how much talent you got on the wide receiver position, the quarterback. If your D line, your offensive line has no sort of cohesion nor camaraderie, you might as well pack it in.
Well, see, here's I didn't mean to cut you off, Joe.
I know you good.
But I think I might give us a close to A on the draft as well. I'm gonna say like A minus. I know we just talked about seeing from afar, but when I looking at right now, I look at how our defense was last year. And I look how opportunistic it was. And I see Michael Parsons getting better in year 2, and DeMarcus Lawrence has signed a 3-year deal, pretty much end his career in Dallas. I'm not saying these are big signings, but it's the cohesion that you guys just talked about. Even though they're never a player in free agency for getting other players, they are going to sign their own. So basically, you brought the whole defense back, minus Randy Gregory. So being the GM brain that I was, and I helped you, Stephen Jones, with this. Even though you lost to Randy Gregory, look what I brought back for you. I brought a Channing Tindall. I brought an edge guy who's a pass rushing special, and Nick Bonita. I came back and got you a big boy in the middle that can bang with Big Bohanna. And I'm telling you, that D'Angelo Malone pick, bruh, was a very good pick. So what's that going to do? Your pass rush. They always say, what's more important, your back end or your front end? It's the front end. When you can create that pressure up front, that means everything because it makes those cornerbacks look better than they are. And you got Kelvin Joseph, who is coming back in year 2, and his rookie year was pretty much a wash. We need to see him take over that position, and he's got the talent. You got year 3 in Trevin Diggs, so he should feel good. You re-signed your safeties and Jaron Kearse, who had a monster year last year. That's what you needed, and he's an emotional leader. Malik Hooker was a great signing to me because he's only 25, 26 years old. He's got the free safety, the size. He came on at the end of the year, so I'm feeling good about that. But now, you guys, with that front that you had with DeMarcus Lawrence, and you still have Michael Parsons who can rush that passer. You have Chauncey Golston, who's in year 2. You also kept bringing back you got Dante Fowler. I ain't saying he's great, but he's formidable. I mean, he's serviceable. And then you got Dorrance Armstrong Jr., who had a career year and 5 sacks. And then when you add these fast guys in the building with them, That's what I want more than anything else. So if you took a step back with losing Amari Cooper in the offense, maybe, and you're trying to make sure you build it, what's the best way to protect that offense? A very good defense. And that's what it was coming on last year. Now you solidify with these young boys so you can let your offense kind of slowly mesh and get together while you wreak havoc on defense and be attacking that offense like no other.
I'll give you like an 84.3. You know what I'm saying? It's not right there. You know what I'm saying? It's like a BB. It's like a B. It's a strong B. You know what I'm saying? Maybe an 85.3.
You know, I think
that's a 90.
As far as 90. All right, I look at it like this, y'all. As far as addressing all our needs, I definitely give us all an A. You know, I feel like everybody. I feel like nobody really reached. I feel like everybody got guys where they most likely should have been picked up. I would definitely give us both teams respectively an A, just for addressing needs and not reaching.
Trying to go best player.
And we had the talent. Here's the thing. We just didn't meet the needs. We had the talent to meet the needs. So I think that's what's really
and good trades, by the way. We made some pretty good trades, both teams aside. Made some pretty good trades. Didn't overreact to anything. Made some pretty good trades.
Well, y'all got them 2 first and second rounder, didn't you? So
that's the big one. Yeah,
that's the big one.
Next year.
So not only did you do good this year, you got to look at that's the good thing about those trades for next year, especially if they're high picks. If you draft good this year and you save that draft, then you'll forget all about this next year. Next year you'll be like, oh, remember we got that first and that second round.
That's the best part. That's the best part. You ain't never lied, bro.
Yeah, but this was fun, man. So next week we're gonna bring on a Dallas Cowboys content creator, and we'll do the same thing. But listen, Tone, you know you my brother. I ain't got to say much. You already know what time it is, man. So I appreciate you coming on. I'm glad y'all two got to meet because I think that y'all are very similar, similar, and that's what I love. I love to get together. But yeah, man, I think that this was a good one, man. How you feel about it, James? You got anything to say before we get out of here?
Oh, I just had a great time. Nice meeting you today, Tone. I love meeting opposing fans or content creators that are really going hard in the paint like this, but having an intellectual background to this and having intellectual speaking. I mean, I can yell, I can definitely get in and go hard and do all that stuff, but that's not what I like to do. I like to intellectually be able to see how a team is formed, how you guys feel about your other team, how y'all think about your players, your breakdowns of players. I like seeing that. And I like having good back and forth because I always, I live out here in Ohio right now currently. And sometimes, I talk to a lot of Ohio State fans, and the first thing they say is, oh, your team sucks, Ohio State good. I can't have a conversation with that person no longer when the first thing you come out saying is somebody sucks. Like, right. I can't talk to you because I feel like you're not intellectually, and we're not going to match right there. And so I love having intellectual conversation, and it brings out the best. And then, it makes other people in the chat, when they're kind of maybe coming hostile because they're used to that, when you show them a different way, then they start calming down. Then they just start talking football, and then you have a healthy respect, even a healthy hate for each other. But then it ain't personal, and we just have a good time with this, and that's what it's supposed to be.
No, build that community. That's all it's about. But yeah, that's all you gotta do. You gotta build the community. We're gonna keep this going. Like we said before, we're gonna keep this going throughout the season. So I'm sure this won't be the last time that you're on here, Tone. But please, for the people that are watching, tuning in, haven't seen you before, let them know where they can find you, who you are, brother.
For sure. Real quick though, Big Game James, you said something real key to me, like the whole when you're having that conversation, you're having that intellectual sparring, that back and forth regarding each respective team. You mentioned the whole like Ohio State thing where people jump out the window and say, "Oh, your team suck," and don't really want to have that constructive conversation, right? Look, like you said, we could easily go back and forth and do the whole lip sparring and go back and forth with with the cleverisms and the puns and all that. We could do that all day, right? But we could leave that to the chat. They're gonna do that for us. You get what I mean? So like I like to approach it from the perspective of the best way, in my opinion, to really gauge who you're talking to or whatever it is. As like me, I like to lead with a question first. Like I asked you earlier about what do you think went necessarily left or right with the Cowboys. That's how I like to lead because that's how you get that gauge for, okay, this is how he feel about his team, and you really learn about the person you're talking to. So, man, it was really an honor, me and you, my man. I actually just subscribed to you on YouTube, so make sure you guys go subscribe to Big Game James. Really, and
I'm going to subscribe as well, for sure.
Man, I appreciate that, my man. Shout out to Cash.
We definitely got to do this more.
Definitely. Shout out to Cash Show for allowing me to come onto this platform, Philly the podcast. Those guys doing amazing work out there. Go check out their website. Just overall great energy this morning, you guys. And for me, Tone Dishills the second. Make sure you guys go lock in on my YouTube channel, Chalk It Up Sports. I'm giving you guys analysis. I'm giving you guys daily content. I have this new thing I'm doing right now called Chalk It Up Sports Daily, where I'm giving you an hour live stream show Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Go lock in on that as well. Chalk It Up Sports Daily, giving you guys literally daily content, everyday content. I got an interview coming out this Monday. I'm interviewing 94 WIP's Joe DeCamera. That's premiering as well. Also got another interview lined up that I'm doing on Tuesday. That's going to be premiering later on in the week. I'm gonna leave that as a surprise. But yeah, make sure you guys go subscribe to me. Chalk It Up Sports, and it's pretty much as simple, you guys. Like the way I see it, no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. One love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry.
Yes, sir.
I like that.
Sir. I love it. Yeah, so we're going to get out of here, man. I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Be sure obviously go check out their channels, like, subscribe, all their stuff. Go show love. But while you're here, before you leave, be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family. And I do have to say this because I do get G-checked if I don't. Be sure to check out the pinned link in the chat for BetUS. They are matching 125% of your deposit up to $2,500. So definitely click that link. Get your bet on. If you're in a state that allows it, because I'm in Florida and we can't do online betting. So what is what it is. But either way, I appreciate everybody. I love you guys. We'll be back next week. So y'all know what it is, man. We out of here. Peace.
We're brothers.